One other thing you mentioned is that when we're too focused on result, it can limit what the universe can bring, is I think how you put that. Why is being result oriented, as I think many people are, that's kind of how we're raised, at least in this culture, is to be very result oriented. Why does that limit us?
Okay. I want to make it very clear there is no good or bad.
Sure.
Okay, the tendency would be that by virtue of me agreeing with what you just said, because you're mirroring back and saying exactly what had been said in the workshop, that the automatic knee-jerk reaction to everybody listening is limiting equals bad.
That's certainly the reaction that I had, which is why I asked you about it.
Okay. It's not a bad. It's like this pen again. Is this pen good or bad?
It's a pen.
It's a pen. It just is. Okay? I can make it good. I can make it bad.
Sure.
I can use it with difficulty, or I can use it with ease. So when we talk about the fact that focusing on the results limits us, that's just an is. It's not a good or a bad, it's just an is. Let's go back to before the ballpoint pen was created, where it was quills and ink.
And that was how you wrote.
And that was how you wrote. If someone had said to you that there was something called a pen that had ink already in it and had a roller, you'd go, because it was beyond the scope of what you knew. Everything in our lives, everything that's created, is based upon what already was, but is a twist on it in a way that it creates something more, something better, something different, something new. So if we focus on the result is always based upon what we already know. We want to replicate what it is that we already know. So in that metaphor, I want to replicate the quill and the jar of ink and the paper so that I can write something. Because that's what I know of as the result. That's what the result looks like. If I want to write something, that's what that looks like.
Right.
Okay? Give yourself the opportunity to now go jump ahead, and now we have pens. We have ballpoint pens. The whole idea, even with calligraphy, for Pete's sake, people who practice calligraphy, there's now calligraphy pens with specific points, but the ink is in the pen. There's so few people now who actually know how to do the quill and the ink and that kind of calligraphy. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't exist anymore as a frame of reference for us. It's just an is. When we look for certain kinds of results, we translate it back to what it is that we know.
And so that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just trying to fit it within our own frame of reference.
Exactly. Exactly. And I don't know how else to explain it other than to say that living our lives with curiosity, living our lives with a little bit of a sense of adventure. And it doesn't have to be in everything. You don't have to live your life perpetually on the edge unless, you want to. I know I don't want to all the time. What it is it's a way of allowing signals. Maybe those signals are ideas. Maybe they're images. Maybe they're sounds. Maybe they're textures. Maybe they're objects. Maybe they're people. Maybe that, I mean, it could be any number of things. To entertain, what if the quill actually had the ink in it? Because that's all it was a question. It started with a question, it started with a curiosity, and then it took someone to play with the idea and experiment with the idea to create the something more, something better, something different, something new. Now what that is now becomes the norm. And that's just an is, because now that's our result. That's what we know it looks like.
Okay. I think I get it. At least as much as I can.
Well, you know, it takes a bit of wrapping your head around, because we're not taught to really look at how we're thinking. We're taught what to think. We're taught to regurgitate. We're not taught to really think what words we're using, why we're thinking the way we're thinking, how we're thinking the way we're thinking, using the words that we use. We use so many words all the time, and we just presume we already know what those words mean, and half the time, I mean, that's why I bring up language so much in the workshop during the day, is that we step in and we go, wow, I use this word all the time. Do I know how to define it? Do I really, if someone asked me if I was talking to an alien from another planet, would I actually be able to describe what the heck this word means? Most people don't.
English teacher, that's absolutely true.